Hi, this is SJ Talks from Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. They say that Donald Trump is going to um, do child support reform. It's going to do allegedly. I haven't heard anything about that. I was watching the Angry Biracial channel the other day, and he did a video, and it was some men on there that was ecstatic about it and happy about it. Um, Apparently, this child support reform bill is supposed to be if a man is paying child support, the mother, if the man is paying child support for a child, the mother cannot file income taxes on that child. And the men, he played some clips of the men being excited about that and all this kind of stuff. First of all, it's problematic when you're excited about shortchanging your child, cutting your child short. Um, it's problematic when you're excited about taking money away from the mother that can be used towards that child. Um, I don't think that's fair. I haven't heard. Let me know in the comment section if you heard anything about that. I haven't heard Donald Trump say anything like that. Um, but it's not right. And I'm explaining to you why that's not right and it's not fair. Now, in a joint custody, I believe in a joint custody situation, the man can use the child on his tax return, but I believe it's every other year. He can claim the child on his taxes every other year. Mother can claim one year, father can claim the next. That's usually the case in a joint custody type situation. But to say that a man is paying child support, and the woman can't file taxes on the child at all, and the man can be the only one that can claim the child. So basically you're reimbursing him. If he can claim the child every year on his taxes, you're basically reimbursing him for his child support that he's paying. So um and we all know that child care, the child credit, the child earned income tax, and the child care credit is you can get um a nice piece of change. So basically, what you would be doing is reimbursing that man and paying him back if for the child support he's paying. If you are allowing this man to claim the child on the taxes every year, that's taking money away from that child, and it's also taking money away from that mother. You know, let me explain to you why this is problematic. I do not agree with this under any circumstance because, as I stated in another video, I'm probably going to try to link that video up to this, where I talked about child support. What am I thinking? I did a couple of videos talking about it. Um, because one video was a response to my comment section. Um, and I explained, I broke down the child support system. Um, and usually it's the county is the one that files child support on the man because to I'll sum it up. Usually the county is the one that files child support on the man because it's usually typically if a woman has to go down and get some type of assistance, then the county is the one that files the child support in most cases. Not in all cases, but in most cases, if the woman has to go down and get any kind of assistance, it makes no difference whether it's food stamps or Medicaid, child care assistance, or whatever, that the county is the one that files the child support because they're gonna want to try to recoup some of their money that they assisted the mother with. And so a big reason why the county files. Um, and it's to put more of an enforcement on the child support to try to get the money out of the father. That is problematic to allow the father to claim the child on his taxes every year, because most men, and we're not talking about multimillionaires, let's leave them out of the equation. Most men do not pay a whole lot of money in child support. Child support is based on a man's income, okay? And most men do not pay um, a lot of money in child support. And the woman, as I stated in other videos, the woman pays more money, puts more money into that child. The mother, being the custodial parent, is putting more money into that child than that little child support check that that man is sending to her. Okay, it's only really a fraction of what he's only really paying. In most cases, a man is only paying a fraction of what that mother is putting into for that child. Okay. Don't get me started on this child support stuff. No, I'm passionate about that. Now I've compiled a list of all the expenses that a mother has to pay. Because last time I did my list and I left some things off because I was trying to ramble it off the top of my head. But I've compiled a list of all the expenses that the mother has to pay, okay, towards the custodial parent. The mother has to pay towards the child. In some cases, the custodial parent is the father, okay. Food. You have to buy food for the child. Okay, you have to buy food for the child. Food as a child grows, they eat more. Okay, if you got more than one child, okay, you got to provide food for the child. Not everybody can qualify for food stamps. I mean, there was times where I didn't even qualify when I was raising my kids. There were times where I didn't even qualify for food stamps because I made too much money on any given job that I might have had. And then when I did qualify for it, it wasn't enough. It was just, they give you a little bit based on your income. Okay, so you still got to come out of pocket to buy food. Okay, shelter. Shelter expenses. Everybody knows that rent is sky high. Housing expenses is going through the roof. You got to provide a roof over this child's head, depending on the state where you live. Depends, it's going up everywhere. Michigan typically has the lower, it has probably some of the cheapest housing costs in the country, but even the state of Michigan is going up. It's on their rents. So shelter is a big thing. It's that's probably the most major expense that she has to consider, is providing shelter costs for her and the children. Clothes. Children grow like weeds. They grow like weeds. From the time they get here, they grow like weeds. I mean, every time you turn around, you got to go buy them clothes. Shoes. Their feet grow fast. Every time you turn around, you got to buy shoes. You got to buy clothes. That is very expensive. Particularly when they start getting older, they start getting a little bit more demanding, and they want those Nikes and those Jordans and all that kind of stuff. And okay, those shoes are expensive. If you want to put some quality shoes on your child's feet, you're gonna drop down. Okay, and okay, come on now. Um, Utilities. Okay, you got to pay water, gas, lights. That is a part of taking care of the child. Paying your utilities, making sure the child has water, making sure the child is the electricity, because without electricity you ain't got no heat and all that kind of stuff. Your utilities. Okay, that is a part of taking care of the child. That is part That's an expense that goes towards the child. Entertainment expenses. Taking the child to the movies, or um, taking the child on a vacation, which I wrote travel expenses. That goes entertainment slash travel expenses. Taking the child on a vacation, going to the movies, going out to dinner, taking the child out to eat, and things like that. Okay, that costs money. Okay, you got to factor that in. Um, Toys. Um, you children. Do you know that children learn through their play? I learned that when I worked at the daycare. Children learn through their play. So toys is very important. You might think that toys is not that important. Toys are important. We're not talking about video games, but that's an expense too. But we're talking about actual toys, okay? Children, especially educational toys. Children learn through their play. So toys is important, okay? Child care expenses. Gotta pay an arm and a leg for child care expenses. That is that's up there with shelter. Childcare expenses is up there with shelter costs. If you're not getting any type of assistance from your local, your county, mother's got to drop a lot of money. Did you know that college paying for a college education for your child is cheaper? Childcare expenses is higher than college expenses. Yes. Childcare expenses can get really. When I worked at the daycare, I used to work at the daycare. When I worked at the daycare, um, parents were dropping almost a couple $100 a week in childcare. We had a parent that had 3 children in the daycare. Now, mind you, her husband had a good job. They had 3 children in the daycare, so they were dropping like $600 a month for childcare. Yeah, they had 3 children in the daycare. It's almost $200 a week. So they were. Did I say a month? No, they were paying $600. Correction, they were paying $600 a week. Okay, 200, almost $200 a week. They had 3 children in the daycare. They were paying almost. They were paying $600 a week in childcare. Mm-hmm. So childcare expenses is. I was blessed enough to get some assistance with my childcare assistance, but I still had to pay a copay in addition to that. Okay, I still had to pay, so I was able to. Uh, um, well, they give you the childcare credit, and I think that's why they give it to you. But yeah, I had to pay a copay in addition to, because the county only paid like 80%. So I had to pay the rest. I had to pay my child care provider the rest of that. Okay. So child care expenses is a big one. School supplies. Um, School don't always supply all this stuff. Sometimes you got to buy pencils and things like that. Schools don't always supply all that. Backpacks and things like that. Um, Expenses like if they're going on a field trip, you might have to drop some money for that, or different things like that. You have to sometimes pay fees for field trips and things like that. Okay, that's an expense. I struggle with some of that stuff at times. Necessities, you know, soap, lotion, stuff for the hair. If you got little boys, haircuts, taking them to the barber shop. That adds up. Those expenses add up. You know, uh, necessities. Soap to wash the clothes and things. To keep your house clean. All that goes under towards the care of the child. Okay. Um, Transportation costs. Okay, you need a car to transport the child back and forth to school, to whatever. Um, y'all going to the store or whatever. If you don't have a car and you relying on public transportation, okay, you gotta pay for public transportation. to get the child back and forth where y'all need to go. So transportation costs can be a big one. If you have a car, you have to pay car insurance, you have to pay for gas, maintenance, maintaining the car to take the child around. All this goes towards the care of the child, okay? Shoes and transportation costs can be a big one. Shoes, I already mentioned shoes. That goes under clothes. Medical expenses, that is not covered by health insurance. Over the counter, the child gets sick, the child comes down with a cold, or the child um, has a stomach flu or something like that. Okay, you got to go to the drugstore and get over the counter medicine. I know there were times where money was tight. It was towards the end of the week, and money was tight, and my one of my sons would get sick, and it would be a little tight for me to go and buy some over the counter medicine. But hook or crook, I had to scrape that money together. I had to do something to get the money together to get my child the medicine because, okay, they need it. Okay, they need it. Okay. And, they need it. I mean, if they get sick, they catch a cold or whatever. Now, there was a lot of times I was able to run them to the doctor, and then the doctor would say, well, they got bronchitis or something like that, or the doctor can provide free samples or something. But if it was a situation to where they were having stomach issues or something like that, I had to go to the drugstore and get something over the counter. And depending on if it's the end of the week, close to payday, and you broke, you live in paycheck to paycheck, you know, it can be hard coming up with that money. There was times where it was kind of difficult for me to scrape up a few bucks. You might not think it's a big thing, but when if you're a single mother and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you got all these other expenses, it can really be a big deal. Okay, it can, because it was a big deal for me at times. But if the child is sick, you got to scrape up something. Okay, you got to borrow the money to get the child some medicine. So those are all the expenses that. Let me know if I missed something, but those are all the expenses that go into that a mother has to pay into a child. Okay, that father 9 times out of 10 is only paying a fraction, because child support, like I said, is based on a man's income. We all know when we're talking about black men, on the average, the black man maybe makes $40,000 a year and under. Okay, on the average, that man is only paying a fraction of what it that mother is putting into that child financially. The mother puts way more money into the child. I know because I raised two. Than what that man is paying in child support. It approximately costs $300,000, or it could be more than that, because inflation, to raise a child from birth to age 18. So these men are only paying a fraction. And most of these guys, your average guy, most of them, they're only paying a fraction. It's not 50-50. It's not 50-50. The man is not paying half of the expenses of what. The only way that the man is paying half expenses if there's a joint custody situation. If there's a joint custody type situation, then the man is paying half. But if it's not, he's not paying half. This is the reason why I don't agree with that situation. Okay, um, it's not fair. I don't agree with it. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I got a phone call coming in. Hit that like, subscribe, and share, and you guys be blessed.